Rise and shine, Nitsa.
Hey guys, Nitsa Gamer here, and welcome to the 20th episode of Sonic Boom Vlogs. I can't believe I made it this far, but 20th episode, and thank God they decided to release the episodes daily. God, it's not like I wasn't trying to catch up or anything, but anyway, let's just get this done and over with. So, this is Sonic Boom Vlogs, episode 20, Hedgehog Day. So the episode starts off where you have Dr. Eggman, who wakes up at 6 a.m., which is definitely something that nobody wakes up at, and Orbot comes in with some breakfast with some bacon and eggs, and yeah, the textures on the breakfast is clearly not that good. I mean, it looks like pure plastic. And not to mention how Orbot creates orange juice.
Suddenly, I'm not so thirsty.
And so when Eggman goes to prepare his egg tank to go up against Sonic and his friends while they're watching a movie on the beach, there's an attack that goes on and all that, and Eggman manages to try to get to Sonic, but it seems like Tails, Amy, and Sonic, and yeah, the others are hoping as well, but those three mainly seem to be defeating Dr. Eggman's robots very easily. And so when Amy knocks back one of Eggman's fires, he launches a super duper kind of fire thing, and suddenly it launches exactly at a perfect time for a lightning bolt to strike between the two attacks, causing the day to suddenly... And yeah, now you probably know why this episode is called Hedgehog Day. I mean, this is an obvious parody to ground...
Rise and shine, Nitsa.
Well, hey guys, Nitsa Gamer here, and I think I'm ready to do my 20th vlog. I can't believe I'm at the 20th episode so far, and God, I feel like I've done this before. So this is Sonic Boom Vlogs, episode 20, Hedgehog Day. So the episode starts off where Dr. Eggman wakes up. God, I feel like I've talked about this before. Orbot makes him breakfast, Eggman's a dick to him, as usual. Eggman gets into his egg tank and then goes up against Sonic at the beach, and Amy knocks back one of Eggman's attacks, and the two missiles hit each other at the same time with the lightning bolt, causing the day to reverse itself. So yeah, Dr. Eggman is stuck in a time loop, which is an obvious parody to Groundhog Day, which is actually pretty clever because the way they play it out is that, almost like Unlucky Knuckles, this is definitely a mindfuck kind of episode. Like, it really is one of those episodes that you gotta watch like 2 times or even more to actually understand, you know, what Dr. Eggman does with each day every time it goes back. And so when Dr. Eggman figures that he's reliving the same day again, he has to figure out, you know, a better plan to actually stop this time loop from happening. So when the 3rd day happens, he figures, maybe I shouldn't go to the battle.
So, I just have to avoid going into battle. Piece of cake.
But nope, it turns out that reminds time as well. So he has to figure out how he can get Sonic for sure. So he has to be able to stop Amy from bouncing back the attack and stop Tails from using the video projector to attack the robots. Wow, if we can use a video projector to kill robots, I think Justin Bieber would be our hero. And so when Dr. Eggman actually does succeed to get Sonic, suddenly the day... Yep, it reverses back, so now he has to try to think of something else. So what he does next is that he...
Rise and shine, Nitsa.
Hey guys. Okay, this is getting repetitive. This is like the 3rd time that I've started this, so where did I leave off? Oh yeah. So when Dr. Eggman figures that he can't defeat Sonic, he has to try something else. So he tries to get Tails to make him understand, you know, what the heck is going on and that he's in a time loop. So they try different strategies and all that, and Eggman tries different ways to convince him that he's in a time loop and all that, and it's actually very clever and very comedic, and near the end, he just doesn't succeed, as it just goes into comedic antics with him building stuff, convincing Sonic and Tails otherwise. And so when he actually does get Knuckles to carry his... Okay, stop it!
Rise and shine, Nitsa.
Okay, so when Knuckles helps Eggman...
Rise and
You tell me to rise and shine one more time, I'm gonna rip your legs apart.
Dude, what is your
You stay out of this. Time loops suck. Okay, so when Knuckles helps Eggman carry this big ball of something, I don't even know what he calls it.
What we need is a shell made of super dense matter to contain the recurring explosion.
I'll have to invent it. Don't worry, I have lots of time.
Suddenly, it turns out that Knuckles is afraid to go to the dentist, and yeah, it's kind of weird because this is actually the last day that happens before it actually cuts to the next day, where it turns out that Orbot is giving him not eggs and bacon, but eggs and sausages. And there's a last comedic moment where Orbot actually takes a picture of Eggman and Orbot hugging, when, of course, it's kind of teasing that he's probably still in the day loop, when it's really just Orbot taking a picture.
I wanted to capture this beautiful moment for posterity.
So yeah, as a whole, this episode, in my opinion, is a... This episode, in my opinion, is a pretty good episode, and I definitely feel sorry for Eggman, because this time loop sucks. So yeah, throughout the entire episode, it does have a lot of comedic setups and all that, and it is such a confusing setup. Almost like Unlucky Knuckles, where the whole luck balance of the universe thing is just absolutely confusing. This does have a confusing setup, even though it's really that simplified. And a lot of the stuff just makes kind of no sense, but at the same time, you kind of just accept it because, does anything make sense in the Sonic Boom universe? So yeah, it's really enjoyable because there's just a lot of great stuff in it, with how he treats Orbot and Cubot like crap, to when he actually does hug out Orbot at the end. And yeah, some of the stuff with like Amy is really hilarious, some of the stuff with Tails is hilarious, and even Knuckles is actually really hilarious in this episode. Sonic and Sticks don't really do much, but you can't really expect all the primary characters to have something to do in this episode. And yeah, just like Eggheads, this is an Eggman-centered episode, and it's really great to actually see him as the center of the episode, and I think he is actually the perfect character to actually go in a Groundhog Day loop. I mean, it's really great. And yeah, if I did have anything to nitpick about, again, I think it's for the fact that it doesn't make sense. I mean, we kind of see how the time loop happens, but we never see what actually stops the time loop from happening. And without giving too much away of what happens on the last day, let's just say it just doesn't make sense. I mean, does this one problem actually stop the time loop? I mean, we are never explained how the time loop stops, except for the fact that it does stop and then it's suddenly the next day. I mean, how did Eggman even get to his bed? And yeah, that's really the only plot hole of the episode that I can't really figure out. And just like a lot of the previous episodes, this episode does have a lot of good touches in it. So, like, there's some of the touches with, you know, how this does play as a Groundhog Day parody. But there's also this one touch that, as a filmmaker, which I'm mostly a filmmaker than I am a gamer, which, yeah, I know it's kind of hard to believe as this is on Nit's a Gamer and I'm mostly a gaming channel. I am mostly a filmmaker, and this is one that, as a filmmaker, I totally geeked out on. And that is when Sonic and Tails are at the movie rental shack, and you actually see 3 different movie posters. One poster obviously being the movie that they rented with Comedy Jim going onto the island, and then the other one is actually a reference to a trip to the moon, or Le Voyage to la Luna, or whatever the film is called. If you don't know what this film is and you call yourself a filmmaker, you disgrace yourself as a filmmaker, and you deserve to kill yourself because you had no idea what the hell this film is, you Yeah, so A Trip to the Moon. So yeah, it's actually really cool that they actually reference that in something as Sonic Boom. So yeah, for those of you who say Rise of Lyric sucks and that automatically makes the TV show suck, well, guess what? They actually make a reference to one of the first films ever made, and that is impressive. I mean, 2 thumbs up for that. So yeah, as a whole, this episode is actually a pretty good episode, and there's a lot of great touches, a lot of great comedy, and it has a confusing setup, but it's a fun episode regardless. So yeah, as a whole, I think I'm gonna give this episode, I'm stuck between 2 verdicts, but, excuse me. So the final verdict is gonna be a 7 out of 10. So yeah, 7 out of 10. So, doesn't matter, the day's gonna start over anyway. So yeah, 7 out of 10. And the reason why I'm not having it go to an 8 is because, unlike, you know, some of the episodes that I put as an 8, it's not really a flowing narrative. And I know it's not supposed to be a flowing narrative, as it's a day repeated over and over again. But unlike Groundhog Day, which is an okay film, okay, to be honest, I actually haven't seen the film, so I can't really criticize it. But another parody that I actually really like was Supernatural's Mystery Spot, and that one was a lot more straightforward and made a lot more sense. Whereas here, nothing really makes sense on how the heck Eggman does stop the time loop, or what is actually causing it exactly. So a lot of that stuff is plot holes that does prevent it from going to an 8 out of 10, and since it does have a lot of comedy, it does deserve its 7 out of 10. So, yeah, as a whole, it's a pretty good episode, and, yeah, if you like it better than I'm giving it credit for, then go ahead and like it. So, I think that's really all I have to say. So, I'll see you guys in episode 21, and seriously, this time loop has pissed me off so many times, I actually forgot the name of the episode. So, I'll see you guys in the next Sonic Boom Vlogs. Goodbye. Okay, is the time loop gonna happen or what? Oh, please don't tell me
Really, man? Rise of Lyric? Yeah, I think we should turn this off.
No, I won't turn it off. I mean, isn't this like the greatest song that you've ever heard in your freaking life?
No.
Oh, my neck itches. Seriously?
A little higher.
A little higher. Oh, too high.
Yeah, right there.